Hello everyone, this will be chapter 42 of The Second Life of the Guardian, written and read by Insect Overlord. This chapter is titled, Something Absurd Happens Anytime Hisashi is in the Room. Because his mom still couldn't see him, Kosuke started spending his afternoons at the Midorias. Masaru had to get back to work, so there was no one to stay at home with him. He was still a kid, and even if he was old enough to walk home alone, he wasn't old enough to stay home alone. Inka was busy with her big court case most days, but Hisashi was willing to keep an eye on him, seeing as he was already staying home with his own kids for the time being. If this had happened months earlier, Izuku would have been upset. He wouldn't have wanted to share his space with a bully. But ever since that day in Izuku's room, things had been getting better between them. They still weren't close by any means, but Izuku wouldn't hesitate to call them friends. Mei had even picked up on the shift and started including Kosuke in their conversations without complaint. It was nice. He wished it hadn't taken him almost dying by Kosuke's hands to get there, though. Today they were working on homework together at the coffee table. Well, Kosuke was working on homework. Izuku had already finished and was redesigning the top 5 heroes' costumes, which was technically working and involved paper and pencil, so the sentiment was there. Izuku chewed on the ends of his hair as the TV droned on in the background. It was getting longer, but he wasn't sure if he wanted to cut it yet. Today we find out the results of the court case that's been on the minds of citizens across the country, Nezu versus HPSC. "Oh!" Hisashi shouted. There was a clatter of pans from the kitchen, and he emerged in the doorway, Eri trailing after him with flour on her nose. He wiped his hands on his frilly apron and called to Izuku. "Turn it up. I want to hear this." Izuku reached for the remote. "Special has been long awaited. The case has lasted over 6 months, with heated debates in the courtroom every week. Here's Nakamura-san to tell us more." The screen cut to a woman standing outside an official-looking building. "Thank you, Tanaka-san. I'm here at the courthouse where the final hearing is taking place. The jury are just now reconvening after their recess. Once they gather, they will present their decision. Here's what we know so far. Nezu, the recently established principal of UA High School, is suing the Hero Commission for the right to host quirkless students. Until now, the pursuit of higher education for the quirkless has been a difficult task. Few schools are willing to accept them, and those that are make the process long and difficult. Last year, Nezu was shut down by the HPSC when they attempted to remove the rule barring those without quirks from applying to their school. According to a statement made by the commission on October 3rd of last year, the quirkless aren't fit to be heroes and would only be a liability. Upon receiving backlash from the public, they redacted their statement and made no further comment. Although the HPSC is a well-respected and powerful organization, Nezu is quite formidable themselves. Known for their last brush with the government, when they claimed their citizenship for themselves despite not being human, Nezu has a reputation for challenging societal norms and coming out on top. If that wasn't enough, they also have the renowned Yakimono Irid on their side. The reporter paused and placed a hand by her ear. "I've been informed the court case is resuming its session. Let's see what the jury have to say." The screen went black for a few seconds, then changed to show, presumably, the courtroom. One of the people from the booth on the right walked over to the microphone and cleared their throat. Reading from a paper, they stated, "We, the jury, find the Hero Public Safety Commission guilty on Charge 1 of discrimination under the Equal Status Act, guilty on Charge 2 of illegal legislative action under the Unity of Commerce Act, and innocent on Charge 3 of embezzlement due to insufficient evidence." "What?" Hisashi shrieked. "They're guilty on all 3 fronts. Just who is running this jury? I'll show them, innocent." "Shh!" Izuku shushed. He wasn't completely sure what was happening, but he was invested. He recognized Yakimono Irid as an anagram of his mom's name right away, and was curious to learn about the mysterious court case she'd been working on for so long. The allotment of 1 billion yen to Miss Yakimono's client, and the amendments of certain procedures within the commission to be decided at a later date. Well, Hizashi slapped his knee and stood up. You make sure to congratulate your mom and auntie, you three. She's going down in history for this one. He smiled a goofy smile, like he was a teenager tripping over his feelings for the girl who sat next to him in class. Ew. Mom? Eri tilted her head. What'd she do? Your mom is the lawyer in charge of suing the HPSC for her client. She's the one who convinced the jury and... Wait! Izuku cut off his explanation as he realized something important. If his mom was the lawyer Yakimono, and Yakimono was representing Nezu, that means Mom's client is Nezu? The Nezu. They're like super famous. They have an intelligence quirk that lets them process things faster than any human on Earth, he gushed. And they're a hero too. Why didn't she tell me? Maybe I could have met them. He had so many questions he wanted to ask, like how they even had a quirk to begin with. As far as he knew, the Kwami only blessed humans. Katsuki scoffed. They don't sound all that great. They're just some rat. Izuku geared himself up to refute his friend, but was interrupted by Hizashi ruffling his hair. He squawked in offense, forgetting Katsuki's comment entirely. She's too professional to introduce her kids to her clients, but maybe you'll get to meet them yourself one day at a, genius convention or something. If you keep studying hard, that is. Izuku rolled his eyes. He didn't consider himself a genius, just someone ahead of his peers. Sure, he knew a lot about hacking and was taking college courses along with high school classes as Marinette, but that was just the product of hard work, not inborn intelligence. As Hizashi and Eri went back to baking cookies and Katsuki resumed his homework, Izuku regarded his mom in another light. He already respected her, but this brought a whole new level of reverence. His mom was fighting for kids like him, even if he wasn't quirkless anymore. She wanted everyone to have equal access to education, but she wasn't just hoping and wishing. She was making it happen. More than superpowers or Kwami, Midoriya Inko was truly miraculous. Izuku eyed his father dubiously as he spouted irrelevant, sentimental nonsense. I remember when I was your age, Izuku. He started yet another childhood story while they rolled out the bread dough. My brother and I would have Super Smash Bros. Tournaments when he was feeling up to it. He was sick most days, so it wasn't often, but it was fun when it did. Wasn't Super Smash Bros. 200 years old by this point? How did his dad even get his hands on that game? A petal from the vase of flowers on the table drifted slowly onto the dough. Hizashi had bought them for his mom just that morning to congratulate her on her court case, but for some reason they were already wilting. Izuku narrowed his eyes at the curiously chosen flowers. Sure, his dad bought flowers for his wife all the time, but there were spider lilies in this bouquet. Maybe flower meanings had been lost with time, but Izuku still thought it was weird his dad chose those specifically. I love you so much, Izuku, his dad stated seriously. Izuku made a face. It wasn't a necessarily strange thing to say, but the phrase felt so final. What the F was going on? Hizashi's phone rang and he answered it quickly, cutting off Izuku's thoughts. I see. Thank you for informing me, he told the person on the other end. He hung up and turned to Izuku, placing both hands on his shoulders. I just got a call into work, but I'll be back as soon as I can. Put the bread in the oven for me, yeah? We'll taste it together in a few hours, tops. He pulled Izuku into a hug, but he didn't reciprocate. He was too distracted by his racing thoughts of, oh, hell no. Hell to the effing no. His dad wasn't about to leave him after that many death flags. Thinking quickly, Izuku summoned a charm, placing a hand in his pocket to dull the light. Wait, Dad, before you go, I want to give you something. Hizashi let go of his son and smiled. What is it, bud? He asked. Izuku placed the charm on his dad's hand, who held it out in front of himself. Oh, a Mario keychain. Where did you get this? I was sure they didn't make them anymore. Izuku blinked. I found it. Hizashi smiled and ruffled his hair. Well, thanks, bud. I'll see you as soon as I can. Izuku watched as his father left, shutting the front door with unusual finality. He spoke into the empty air of the house. You better, because if you don't, I'll find your body and pry my charm out of your cold, dead hands. This concludes chapter 42. The next chapter should be up soon. Thank you so much for listening.